them because we are the people. And we are united against the corruption of the DNC.
Great little paper.
Socialist Appeal, fight for social delegate. What's that?
Well, we got some analysis on Bernie and Hillary talking about how the DNC is corrupt and it's just it's a party of the bourgeoisie and a party of...
Bourgeoisie.
Yeah, right? I know. But there's no better word for it. I mean, like...
What a funny word.
We're trying to get that into mainstream lingo again.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's not really mainstream. I mean, as far as bourgeoisie is concerned, wasn't it coined by Karl Marx? Wasn't the word bourgeoisie coined by Karl Marx?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So
I don't know if he was the first one to use it, but it was popularized. So yeah.
I haven't heard this for quite some time. So
Yeah.
what's the appeal of socialism?
The appeal of socialism is that capitalism is declining. We're seeing all the problems that are resulting from its death throes. I mean,
You don't mind me recording that, right?
I mean, I'd prefer if you didn't, but...
What do you mean? You're here demonstrating and
I am.
you know
It makes me nervous. I mean,
Really?
I have stage fright. It's not that I'm afraid of my face going out.
Okay, how about this? Let's Okay, look, let's pretend that the camera is not aiming at you.
No, it's not me.
See, it's not you. Okay. Anyway. So what's the appeal of socialism? You're saying that capitalism is in decline.
Capitalism is in decline, and we need to have the economy controlled by the workers and the people who, the majority of the population, instead of the capitalists at the top, so we can provide the services that we need instead of having political parties that serve the wealthy for the interests of the wealthy.
But how do you think it's gonna happen? I mean, wasn't socialism tried in the past?
Well, we'd say that it was not tried in the past. All
Really?
the places where socialism has succeeded have been backwards countries, and they've developed in such a way that they're distortions of a real socialist society.
What is a real socialist
A
society?
real socialist society is where the workers control industry. It's a democracy. Everything is democratically controlled, and services are provided to people. There's a guarantee of the essentials of life, food, and basic income.
See,
and housing.
the funny thing is that I kind of, the type of a guy who we have any any conversation, not necessarily discussion, any conversation. I like science, for instance. Science, for example, is very particular by the definitions.
Yeah.
So definitions are extremely important because if we agree that the sky is blue, there's really nothing to talk about. Feel the burn. All right. So, what do you think is the, let's say, classic definition of socialism?
Okay.
I mean, you're not saying social.
Classic definition of socialism would, I think, be workers' control of the economy.
What does that mean?
It means that if you work in a factory or you work at McDonald's, you have just as much of a say over how things are produced and distributed as a multimillionaire banker or multi-billionaire banker.
So that's what you think is classic definition of socialism. I mean, from what I know,
That's a planned economy, at least.
planned economy. And you think the planned economy will work?
Yes. I mean, it's
And where did it work? I mean,
Cuba's doing very
Really? Cuba's doing very well? Really?
I mean, it's being portrayed as like this big social failure.
Cuba's. What about North
dictatorship.
Korea? What about
North Korea? Oh no, North Korea. We consider that a deformed worker state.
Deformed.
I mean, it's just
it's
an oligarchy. It's an oligarchy. It's not socialism. We don't claim that as socialism.
Well, look.
Who are you with? Are you?
Just myself. Don't worry. So it's not like it's gonna be on big mass media. You don't see any small camera. So nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I hope not.
You're doing good so far. So my question is, I mean, the last time that I learned about socialism is basically, again, classic definition is lack of two things. A, private property, right? So no one can have private property, not to be confused with personal property, right? Not to be confused with that.
Thank you.
And profit is criminalized. So your version of socialism, is profit encouraged or profit is going to be criminalized?
I think exploitation is criminalized.
But what's the difference between exploitation and profit? Where do you draw the line then?
I think that if you are exploiting people, you're hiring them for their surplus value, and you're hiring them to make money for you for your own personal gain. That is profit. and then
Okay, let me make it simple.
Sure.
Let's say, do you think that in your version of socialism there can be, let's say, a taxi cab driver who will make money? It's just one-man operation. I mean,
money.
he's driving a taxi. You know, he has the bills to pay.
I think that it would have to depend on the conditions of the country. I think that.
But it's kind of yes or no. I mean,
Yes, it's more complicated than that. It has to do with the scenario of the country. It's like
so what would be your scenario of socialism? I mean, it's a big thing.
You decide that you want to employ 50 people in your city to be taxi cab drivers, and then another person says, "Hey, I see that these people are having a good time being taxi cab drivers, getting all these benefits being taxi cab drivers. I also want to be a taxi cab driver." I think that wouldn't be allowed.
So in other words, you are against, let's say, someone having like a proverbial lemonade stand, because lemonade stand is sort of the enterprise where we make money.
No, but
I'm just trying to pick your brains. I mean, don't.
Yeah. Okay.
Devil's advocate.
Devil's advocate. I think that.
And it's a big change, you know, from capitalism to socialism. I mean,
I think there's no issues with the smaller.
I'm sorry. You guys know what's up today? 2 o'clock. 10
what's
minutes?
happening?
Huh?
What's happening?
We're having a die-in.
A who? A what?